YouTube. My name is Christy, and I am from Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm here on YouTube because basically I've been overweight all my life, and I recently had the lap band done. And I have viewed a lot of videos and um, informational things off of YouTube from other people that have had the lap band done. And I thought, hey, what a great way to keep myself accountable and record my own story on YouTube. Uh, if many of you are like me and you've been overweight your whole life, you know that failure comes along with being overweight. And I really need support and different things like that. So I thought this would be a good way for me to keep track of myself and maybe get some support from others. So my story about the lap band. Let me see where to start. Well, I started researching the lap band several years ago, and everywhere I worked did not cover it, and the insurance, did not pay for it. And paying for it out of pocket, it was never an option for me. As we all know, the economy is pretty rough, but it just wasn't an option for me. So I was lucky enough to get a new job in 2009, and lo and behold, they cover the lap band surgery. So I started my journey out in the lap band surgery of December of last year, December of 2010. I went to a seminar because the place that I chose to go through, you had to go to a seminar. So my husband went with me, and he was the only skinny person in there. He was like sitting between me and this other, really large man too, kind of squished in there, and which that's just still funny to me. But my husband's very supportive. So he went with me. We went to the seminar, turned in my insurance and all, the stuff that they need, the papers, yada, yada. I get a call from the bariatric center, and I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, so I went to the bariatric center at Jewish Hospital, St. Mary and Elizabeth, is where I had my surgery done, and my surgeon is Dr. John Osofka. So I went to the seminar, turned everything in, got a phone call, and they're like, okay, hey, your insurance, covers it, but we need you to come in, meet with the surgeon, and, go over the guidelines for what your insurance wants. So I go into the surgeon December of 2010, and my highest weight ever, and I remember I cried that day, I weighed 272 pounds, which is more than I weighed when I gave birth to my second child, and she was 9 pounds and 14 and a half ounces. I weighed 250, I believe, when I gave birth to her, which was, years ago, 23 years ago. My girls are 17 and 16. I'm 37, and I'm 5'3". So I go in and I weigh in at 272 pounds. And the doctor says, hey, you're a good candidate for this. When I was 33, I found out I had PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's a hormonal thing, and it basically slowed me down more than I was already moving slow like a turtle anyway. And then it turned into diabetes, and then I've developed high cholesterol and sleep apnea, and I think, chronic fatigue syndrome, depression, all of it. So he says, hey, you're a candidate for the surgery, but your insurance requires that you see your doctor one time a month for 6 months, 6 consecutive months on a supervised weight diet. So, okay, here I go. I start with my doctor, January of 2011. 272 pounds. He starts me on glucophage for my diabetes, which, I couldn't really take it, made me sick, but I tried to take it, tried to watch what I eat. So I go through my 6 months of the supervised diet, and in July, I'm down to 254 pounds. So after sorry, computer went blank. After the 6 months, they submit to my insurance and they say, yes, she's approved. Okay, great. So I go into the surgeon and um, he assesses me again. I'm down to 254. They set up surgery day for August 31st. And the week before surgery, I have to go on a pre-liquid diet, or a pre-op diet. And that diet consisted of all the clear liquids that I wanted, water, tea, coffee, diet soda, sugar-free Kool-Aid, Crystal Light, anything sugar-free drinks. I could have all the sugar-free popsicles, all of the sugar-free Jell-O, and fat-free fudgesicles that I wanted. I had to have 2 protein shakes a day, and I could have 2 cups of raw vegetables, and then I could have 2 servings of either a half a cup of cottage cheese, 1 cup of yogurt, or 1 cup of pudding a day. I chose cottage cheese. I pretty much lived off cottage cheese and tomatoes. Luckily, tomatoes were good and summery fresh around here then, so that worked out really well for me. Although it was, still kind of a struggle that whole week because you're just starving to death. But anyway, I did it. So I did that for a week, and I show up the day of surgery, and they weigh me, and I am 249. So 54, 53, 54, 5 pounds down from the pre-op diet. So I go in that morning, 249. Have my surgery done. I had to be there at 6 a.m. I was home by 1 o'clock, and not really sore. My doctor didn't give any pain medicine because he didn't want me to get constipated, so he doesn't give pain medicine. I said, take Tylenol, ibuprofen over the counter. I took a few ibuprofen, but for the most part, just sore, really wasn't in a lot of pain. The pain came from the gas that they put in you, when they have to expand everything out to get to your organs. The pain was horrible. The pain from the gas lasted for me literally about 8 days before it finally all expelled out. And it was wretched, horrible, awful, 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 to the point where I was thinking to myself, what did I do? I want this out. I can't take it. And it was very hard to get liquids down because I was obviously very swollen. So it was, hard to drink. I had a whole lot of restriction, but it was because I was swollen and my stomach area was very swollen. I had 5 incisions, and they are all now healed. They look fine. The scars are not bad. 4 small ones. One that's about that long. The rest of them are, pretty teeny tiny. And I had to be on clear liquids for 2 days after surgery. Broth, soup, tea, anything clear liquids for 2 days, which I did. And then after the 2 days, I got to go to full liquids, which was, yogurt, cream soups, but you had to strain them, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Did that for the rest of that week until the next week, 1 week post-op. I could go to mushy foods, which I did. Ate a lot of mashed potatoes, baked beans, mushed up baked beans, pureed some meatloaf, different things like that. Still had some restriction, could only get about a half a cup of food down at a time, but was much better and started to feel much better because the gas pains were alleviating and whatnot. Start to be able to move around better and this and that. So 2 weeks post-op, which was this past Wednesday, had been 2 weeks. I go to the doctor that day for my follow-up, which was also the day that I was getting ready to be able to have chopped foods, which I was extremely ecstatic about. I could actually, chop up some chicken and fill something that I could chew. So I get to the doctor. I'm down to 242. So 7 pounds since surgery day. And my doctor says, you're doing great. Everything looks good. You don't really have to worry about the chopped food diet. Just go on to regular foods. And I'm like, okay, I can eat regular foods. And he's like, yes, go on, try, he wanted me to still do the start on the 3 meals a day and the no drinking for an hour after the meal. And then he said, come back in 2 weeks and we'll do, your first fill or adjustment. You know, different people will call it different things. So come back in 2 weeks. They'll start by putting some saline in the band. So that's where I'm at so far, down to 242. And I go back in 2 weeks for my first fill. I am able to consume food now. I don't have any restriction, but I'm still trying to stay at the half a cup to a cup. I'm still working on the chewing slow, the eating slow, the swallowing slow, because I realized really quick with the lap band that it's not a fixer-all. And I really realized how addicted to food that I was after the lap band. I mean, I always knew, you know, hey, I like food, I love food, it's comforting, this and that, but I didn't realize how much control it actually had over me until I had the lap band. Because when you're sitting there and you're hungry and you're smelling Subway or pizza or all this other stuff and you cannot eat it, it is just like detox, withdrawal. But it gets better. It's so much better, and I feel so good today as opposed to that I felt 2 weeks ago when I first had the surgery done. I mean, it's so much better. So, you know, I think everybody probably goes through that. You know, what did I do to myself? You know, oh my God, this is awful. But it does get better, and your cravings for food get less, and things start to, you know, bother you less as you heal and get rid of the gas and the pain, and everything becomes more comfortable. It is a lot of retraining and thinking, because you have to tell yourself, you know, I can no longer gulp down water. I have to go slow. I have to chew. I have to, you know, take my time. And, you know, the lap band, it's what you do with it up here. You have to decide, you know, I have this great tool and I have to use it the correct way. Keeps going blank. I need to fix that. I have to use it the correct way or it's not going to work. So that's the concept that I am with right now. I'm very afraid of failure because I've been heavy my whole life and I've tried dieting, I've tried different things, and it didn't work for me. But I think more so because I wasn't right here for it to work. You have to be right upstairs to make the downstairs part get better, I think. And I really want to try to be ready for that now that I've gotten older. You know, when I was a teenager or in my 20s and I was overweight, it really wasn't that bad because, you know, I didn't have the other comorbidities and I could still move around and, you know, I was pretty much okay with my weight. But as I've gotten older, you know, I'm just groggy, tired. You know, I have diabetes, I get hot easy, I sweat, I get out of breath. You know, if I have to walk too far, my back hurts, and it's terrible. You know, it's embarrassing, it's terrible, I can't stand it anymore. And I chose to do the lap band not because I want to be a size 8 or because I want to wear a bikini. I want to be healthy. And I want to be able to see my kids graduate college. And if they ever decide to have grandchildren, I want to be able to play with my grandchildren. I want to be able to, you know, go to the park and walk around without, you know, having to sit down or have somebody tie my shoes because I can't bend over. You know, I want to change that for myself. And I'm so scared of failure, and I'm hoping that this with YouTube will help me stay in check with myself, and it'll help me learn from others. And I need to make a commitment to do a post once a week, look back on my progress, keep track of what I'm doing, stay encouraged, and hopefully get support from other people. As far as telling people about the lap band, I told everybody. I was so excited, I just ran out and I told everybody, hey, I'm getting the lap band. And now that I've done that and it's over and I had the lap band, I really wish I hadn't told anybody. Again, it's a personal choice, but for me,